Diving in the crystal clear waters off the Azores, dolphins and whales are a magnet for tourists. The biggest whale watching company here receives 30,000 clients a year, who come on board its 9 vessels to spot the majestic creatures, drawn to the Azores by the abundant fish stocks. But don't these whale watchers clash with the local fishing industry?
How do you share the sea with fishing boats?
Well, dolphins are feeding around the fishing boats, and the fishermen right now, they are telling us, hey, you have the dolphins here. So right now it's a kind of a collaboration even.
Better collaboration and sustainability are the aims of what's known as maritime spatial planning. The EU-funded MAR-SP project is helping the Azores, Madeira and the Canaries develop their plans.
There
are new uses that are appearing from a combination of various activities which can interact and share the same space in a sustainable way. And maritime spatial planning allows us to make these marine activities compatible.
It's all about maps. The planners combine surveys of sea users with existing data on marine resources and habitats in a Geographic Information System, or GIS. Their goal is to put all activities on the map in a way that works best.
We've done this with all the maritime industries, and we ask them, please draw the polygon where you practice your activity. What are the other activities that you are in conflict and why? So then we take this information and we inputted it into a GIS system to support decision making.
The plans take all factors into account, from depth levels and coastal land use to cultural artefacts and, most importantly, the ecosystems. Sea resources can only be used in ways that preserve biodiversity, keeping marine plants and animals healthy. Madeira finalised its plans ahead of the other Macaronesian archipelagos by resolving a conflict between its growing aquaculture business and its crucial tourism sector. Surfers complained about the fish cages, so the planners found a way to move them to a better spot, where they unexpectedly became a big attraction for scuba divers. As for pollution concerns, the authorities are planning regular inspections.
The areas will be kept pristine, and for that we had to obviously implement the monitoring programs for it. And then the areas, we would have some sort of rules, not only for the fish farms, but also for the people that have different interests around the fish farms.
Most of the coastal waters to the north of Madeira's main island are protected areas for marine mammals, off limits to economic activities. Fish farms have been assigned to relatively small areas on the other side of the island, but with enough space to grow. For the aquaculture companies, this certainty is important. They've doubled their production over the past year.
Who are neighbors here in terms of other sectors, other businesses working, sharing the same maritime space with you?
Well, we have big game fishing boats. We have the marina over there.
This sea bream farm is sheltered from storms, has perfect depth and nice currents that keep the water clean. The fact that the Maritime Spatial Plan designates this area as an aquaculture site assures investors that they can further develop their business in the years to come.
For us, it's a confidence that we have a space for a certain time. We won't be forced to leave this place, as it's a very good spot.
The Maritime Spatial Plans will be updated every few years to take into account new business opportunities, spanning from the shoreline to the outer limits of the regional and national maritime zones.
The fact that our plan is ready means that we can start working on reviewing it with more knowledge, more capacity, more sharing and more cooperation with the neighbouring archipelagos, the Canaries and the Azores.
Finding compromise with the neighbours is not child's play. At this training workshop in Toulon, French and Algerian specialists were invited to play a board game. Called MSP Challenge, it simulates a busy maritime border between 3 fictitious countries with conflicting interests. That's exactly the sort of problems maritime spatial planners need to solve.
All activities that are across borders
maritime transportation, tourism, but also biodiversity or marine protected areas. The challenge here will be how to manage these different activities across borders in a sustainable way.
The game is used in many countries by the MSP Global. That's an initiative by the European Commission and the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission of UNESCO to promote maritime spatial planning worldwide.
We have examples from China on how to finance the planning process. We have examples from South America on how to involve minorities, and many other examples that help us to develop in Europe as well a different plan, a more innovative planning.
A core goal of good maritime spatial planning is pairing sustainable economic growth with preservation of nature. Las Cantaras beach in Las Palmas de Gran Canaria is an example of where tourism and environmental protection go hand in hand. This spot is both a precious marine reserve, home to hundreds of fish species, and a tourist hotspot for snorkelers and divers.
In the middle of big cities, we can get perfect places for conservation, perfect places for leisure time, and we can combine both things at the same time. People want to see a healthy environment to enjoy, so we can develop economic growth, which is linked to a good conservation status.
To better protect nature and optimize the use of marine space, an EU-funded project, Plasma, is developing a decision support system. It shows how suitable a certain area is for a given sector.
We boosted this system with lots of data, and we try to identify areas where we are going to have minimized impact on the environment, which don't have a conflict with the coastal land use and with the other maritime sectors.
Maritime spatial planners also have to integrate newcomers in marine areas, like wind farms. Trials are already underway at the Plocan test site in Gran Canaria.
We are working in projects in such a way that the fisheries can do their work inside, between the space within the turbines, or even putting aquaculture in the middle. So the question is to develop the technologies.
The EU coastal member states have until the end of March next year to finalise their maritime spatial plans, boosting the marine economy while preserving the coastal ecosystems for generations to come.